Hello and welcome to the Dark Souls Remaster Showcase. Now the funny thing is, I already have a request before the series even began. It's for the Zweihandler. Time to get into costume.
Granddad!
That's enough of that. Now, for the Zweihandler. It is an ultra great sword. The attack type is regular instead of slash. It's pretty more of a bash weapon. One of the gigantic straight greatswords. As the name suggests, Zweihandler is held with two hands, and in the wield must be inhumanly strong, and it is a great weight that sends blows flying when hit solidly. Yeah, that's in Dark Souls. So, the Zweihandler is a German weapon, developed in the 16th century. It is kind of like the sword's arm race, who could build the biggest weapon and still wield it. Now, as Dark Souls claim, this suit must be insanely strong, but in reality, the Zweihandler, the standard weight of a blade is only around 7 pounds. 10 at most. So that's, I'm not sure where the inhumanly strong comes from, because you can lift it up with one hand. It's awkward to swing with one hand. It might hurt when it hits the ground. And it's not going to send dirt flying or anything else flying. Think of it more as a spear than a sword. Or even a halberd, and that's how it's treated on the battlefield. The German Lance Cannon mercenaries are famous for using these extensively. And they are mainly the rear guard or possibly flanking units. As with such a large weapon, you'd swing side to side, and your opponent would have a hard time closing the gap between you without getting hit by the darn thing. So Dark Souls exaggerates the, the weight of it just a little bit. Okay, for the animations, you better beware of Granddad, because when he swings it, he sends dirt flying somehow. With a 7-pound blade. So yeah, it's awkwardly swings side to side, as Ultra Greatsword moveset is, and the power attack is a sword-headed swing. Very slow, very lumbering, but it hurts a lot. Alright, then you got the light step back attack, which is actually pretty much the same as the power attack, except a lot quicker. And of course, the bolt, you can get in between these moves, but it gets a bit difficult when you got all that range. And of course, the step back power attack is the same as normal power attack, which is almost identical to the normal power attack. So the light roll attack is actually a stab, though that'd be the most awkward thing trying to do is stab with this weapon. Okay, light power attack, or light rolling power attack, is pretty much same as normal power attack. So, and then you got the sprint attack, which is again, if you've seen a pattern here, it's a lot of all the same moves, just overhead swings and bashes. Even the plunge could be called the same thing. It's almost all the same move, just done at different speeds. That's the reason why I don't like the Ultra Great Swords in the original Dark Souls. They all seem a bit bland in terms of moveset. But when you go into two-handed, it's almost the same thing, except albeit slightly quicker. More damage has to be done, sure. Not to mention use it as a comparable shield as well. So yeah, the power attack, also the same thing. You also can do a follow attack with it, which is nice. But still, it's all kind of the same speed. But albeit slightly stronger. Alright. From that we got the light step back attack, which is kind of like the same thing as all the other moves as you're seeing. It's almost coming redundant to show the animations for this weapon. And that's the step back heavy attack. So, and then you got the light rolling with two-handed, which is the same stabbing, almost the same speed as well. And as you kind of figured, the heavy rolling attack is the same as usual. So yeah, moveset for Granddad, it's not that great. It's kind of all the same moves, but each move has plenty of force behind it. Okay, now going on to the stats for the Zweihandler. Physically, well, it has plenty of damage, 130 starting off. Well, it has to, if you have a weapon that's slow. And starting off, the bonus damage is also pretty high. It's already 102, which is already just about to overpass the base damage. The parameter bonus, you got a C for strength and a D for dexterity. Not that dexterity will do much for this weapon. And the, let's see, the damage reduction, this is actually a comparable shield to talk about, because if you use it as a shield, you take off 70% of all damage while physically done. It doesn't so much do anything for magic, but for fire and lightning it's halved. The stability is 44, which is actually decent. So this makes a half-assed shield, and when you're wielding it, you might need to block a couple times. Going on for that, you got parameter bonus, which you need 24 strength, which is plenty, and only 10 dexterity. And other thing to mention is 10 weight. So yeah, it's fairly heavy for our Dark Souls weapon. Now for the upgrades, we got the base upgrade here, which you see is plenty powerful. Then we got the raw, which is not as powerful. And it probably never will be. But anyway, you got the Divine, which has plenty of damage, and also then you have the Magic, which is also plenty powerful. And then we have the most powerful upgrade here, the Enchanted Zweihandler, with all my stats being at 50. Then we have the Fire, which is powerful but no scaling. And then we have the Chaos with 35 Humanity for scaling. So it's okay, not that great though. And then to finish off, we got the Occult, which is pretty good. Okay, so going with the Enchanted Zweihandler, you can skip back there and see its stats. It's strongest from all we had. And you can see with just a simple blow, the enemies die twofold. Their honor is crushed as well as their bodies. Although that weapon is incredibly slow and lumbering to use. Not to mention, Granddad's setup is actually quite heavy. So I'm already wearing a ring just to compensate for all of that. So yeah, so plenty heavy enough. But the question is, can it go through shields? Well, the fuck you think it's gonna do? So there's a light stab attack, it just immediately broke that shield and he's dead. But wait, it gets even better. Ultra Greatswords have a benefit among other weapons. When an enemy tries to guard, you go right through that ship if its stability isn't high enough. So you pretty much need you need a Great Shield just to hope to block the damage from this stuff. Or it'll go right through. At least somewhat. So yeah, when fighting off a group like the Phalanx, which are mainly just guys with shields, you can clear the group pretty easily, although they do still stab you because they don't stagger. These enemies do not stagger whatsoever. So yeah, you're heavily open to counterattacks constantly with this weapon. So you gotta choose, when you hit a point, you gotta make sure you hit him good. Because if you fuck up your attack, and he hits you back, it's going to hurt, because he's going to hit you probably more than once. That said, switching between targets is a bit of a painless weapon. Because it's not big enough that it can't cover a giant area. It's its Zweihandler. It's not the longest weapon in the game. It's simply probably I think it's one of the shortest Ultra Great Swords, if not the same size. It is original Dark Souls, where Dark Souls 3 had many different lengths. Zweihandler is kind of like the average length, if not one of the smaller ones. So that said, plenty of power, but you gotta choose that power very carefully and when to apply it. But other than that, when you use it correctly, well, nothing can fucking stand your way. Not even the bosses, not even old Lord Gwen himself. Stands zero chance. Because you got all the firepower you need in one blade. So, next question. Can this Zweihandler go through a giant shield? Well, you see me use a block, and now it's got your comparable blocking, but you see, no, it does not. Doesn't do anything, doesn't do any damage at all, which I'll probably accidentally strike it a couple more times, given the moveset for this Zweihandler. But when I do hit the giant, it hurts like hell. Pretty much, keep it in this mind, because most of the enemies in Dark Souls are giants. Well, to them, you're hitting them with a standard longsword, and they get hurt as such from a standard longsword if it was scaled up to their size. So there's not very many enemies in the game that will actually stand up to your firepower, as you'll send most of them slamming into the ground. There's no real way to send them flying, as the description suggests. No, that's in Dark Souls 3, not in Dark Souls 1. But still, plenty powerful. So, in terms of anything else I can say about it, not a whole lot. You can take it against other bosses, no problem. Your weapon easily matches or exceeds theirs. So with that said, while I'm going to show you, well, for Dark Souls Remaster, I'll try and get some PvP in. If I can't get PvP in, I got a substitute. He's not that great, but he gives a similar idea, and just as aggressive as some others. Good old Kirk. But poor Kirk stood no fucking chance. Like, I didn't even give him a chance. He comes at me very aggressively and leaves himself open, and that's what happens if you leave yourself open to a Zweihandler. You'd fucking die. Moving on to the pros and cons of the Zweihandler. On the pros, it has a high damage output, it has excellent reach compared to most other weapons, and it can generally bypass a lot of shields out there. On the cons, it's a slow and predictable animation set, and the weapon is quite heavy and clunky. So pretty basic pros and cons. Now going on to the score for the Zweihandler. Since it's effectively the first video in this playlist showcase, I no longer use a number system, I use a letter system. For damage, I'm going to give that an A, because it's one of the higher damage output weapons, but of course it pays for it in other ways. Reach, I'm going to give that a B+. It has excellent reach, not the longest reach in the game, but there's plenty to use with. And not to mention when you do swing it horizontally, it's quite good. Animation, I'm going to give that a D-. The animations are slow, almost more than half of them are the same effing move at different speeds, most of them being slow. Scaling though, I'm going to give that a B+. There's plenty of scaling, and in most forms when you fully upgrade it, it is powerful. I may choose the Enchanted, but a lot of the other versions are almost just as powerful. And for Miscellaneous, I'm going to give that a C+. In my opinion, the Ultra Great Swords are awesome and all, but even PvP, they're not really the wisest thing to do, because as much as Grandad is a huge threat, in the player base now, where everyone's a lot more parry happy, it's not such a great idea anymore. You can easily get parried on this damn thing. And elsewhere, there's just so many damn enemies and they come at you so damn quickly. The Zweihandler, or the Ultra Great Sword class, is a difficult one to use in Dark Souls in general. So in total, I give the Zweihandler a B-. So, it's pretty good. Is it the best weapon? No. But Grandad will probably wreck you. If not, he has already wrecked you in the past. And there you have it. The Zweihandler is a good, awesome weapon, but not the best for every situation, given that its slow animation speed. And PvP's best, just take a great sword, or something else. So yes, this is by request I did this video first, and it's actually the second showcase I recorded. And it'll be the first in the playlist, given that its order has been presented. And that is it for this showcase. I'd like to thank you all for watching, and hope to see you guys next time. Take care out there.